Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2 and ESPN Radio. Jalen, this is interesting. On Monday, the NFL submitted to the Players Coalition a final draft of a proposal that, according to documents reviewed by ESPN, would contribute nearly around something like $100 million to causes considered important to the African American communities. In doing so, the NFL hopes that this will effectively end the peaceful yet controversial movement kneeling for the anthem that was started by former 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick. Jalen, this is going to be reviewed by the coalition on Wednesday evening. We'll learn more about this as it goes on. But something about this doesn't really sit right. Does this feel like the players are trying to buy the end of the protest?
First and foremost, Colin Kaepernick, you created a $100 million conversation between players and owners.
Obviously, I meant the owners are trying to buy the end of the protest.
Big shout to Colin, well-deserved GQ Man of the Year. Created a $100 million conversation. I have some advice for the players. Don't do it.
Ooh.
Please don't do it.
Why is that, Mr. Rose?
I'm not going to get too caught up in the math. But when you say $100 million, that's the splashy headline that's there to purchase the conscience, the fans, the media, and by the way, to shut y'all up. Y'all been having a loud voice since the beginning of this season, and we trying to muzzle that as much as we can. When you do certain math, it's 32 teams in the NBA. So that's over $3 million per owner. That's not a lot of money overall. And if you're going to do it over 7 years, that's about $400,000 a year. We're not going to look to a dollar figure to be a game changer. And you're going to see a lot of people comment on this topic.
Explain.
And when they finish, you ask them, how much have you given back to the community? You also ask them this, do you have a foundation? Also ask them this, do you show up at functions when you're not getting paid? And so what ends up happening is, as somebody like me, who has dedicated himself to trying to give back to his community, blood, sweat, and tears, time, energy, money, sweat equity, it becomes more than just a dollar figure. That's why when you come to JRLA, I'm not on the donor board for that exact reason. So based on what the players want to get accomplished, you can't put a dollar figure on that. And it's going to be interesting to see if they agree to the deal. But more importantly is, when you say issues related to the players and to the African American community, is that something the league is picking? Is that something the players are picking? Are we dictating where the money goes and when it goes there? If these things aren't happening streamlined, don't take the deal.
It just also feels to me that a bunch of billionaires are doing what billionaires do. They're like, oh, we have a problem. What should we do? Throw money at the problem. You know what we're going to do? We're going to throw money at this problem. It's also a term that we use in production. It's throw money at the problem. It'll go away. And you know what's not going to happen? You can't throw money at institutional racism. You know what I mean? And make it go away. Like, and this is certainly a step, and money is part of the process. But money alone is not going to, never say solve, but money alone is not going to create the sort of change which the players are asking for through this protest. And it also feels like it would cheapen the movement if this sort of a gesture ended it. Does that seem fair to say?
Absolutely. The gesture happened a couple of ways. When Jerry Jones had his squad take a knee prior to the anthem to agree to stand for the anthem, then he came out later and contradicted the whole scenario. When you have 45 going to Twitter and he's calling the NFL players out of their name, that all now derails from why initially Colin Kaepernick chose that venue to express himself, and so many players followed, to now we're going to accept the dollar figure and we're just going to go be quiet. No, it doesn't work like that. It's not about the money. I got to tell you a word that continues to get lost.
What's that?
Power. Is what it's about.
Money,
and
power,
to
respect.
your point, you can't purchase that.
I don't think we've heard the end of this. As I mentioned, the Players Coalition is getting together on Wednesday night to discuss this. I do not think that they will flatly accept this. I think it's the start of a long conversation / negotiation. But money alone cannot create the change that this community needs. Next, Eli Manning has started 210 games for the Giants consecutively. The streak has gone on for a long time, and it will end this Sunday as head coach Bob McAdoo has announced that Geno Smith, yes, that Geno Smith, will be the starter for the New York Giants. Jalen, let's listen to Eli, who reacted to this news.
It's hard. It's been a hard day to handle this, but hang in there and figure it out.
Hardest things the Giants, you can say?
It's up there. Yeah.
Do you feel like you might have started your last game for the Giants?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll take it one week at a time.
Emo Eli makes me sad, Jalen. Are the Giants doing Emo Eli dirty?
Here's what I want everyone to understand. First and foremost, Eli Manning has started his last football game as the quarterback of the New York Football Giants.
Oh, really? Really?
He will, in my opinion, end up in Jacksonville with Tom Coughlin or end up in Denver following his brother's footsteps.
I like this, too.
Putting that on wax.
Fun theories.
Number two, what does Eli or the team have to gain by trotting him out there for the rest of the year? Get him hurt?
They don't have much to gain whatsoever. I mean, Eli Manning is a veteran. He doesn't need the experience. And another thing we know about this whole thing, that the thing that no one's really talking about is Bob McAdoo's not going to be the coach next year. That's one reason I think Eli might be around next year. Ben McAdoo is not going to be the coach next year of this team. So whatever moves he makes, it's just going to all get wiped clean the second after Week 17 is over.
And it's not a Lifetime Achievement Award. The entire team has not performed the way it did last year. He, as a quarterback, has continued to decline with his performance overall. So regardless to who they're going to start, they're cleaning house, period, as you just mentioned. And so you don't want him to get injured because you can't trade him. Everybody's missing the point. If he goes out there and he gets hurt or he continues to play bad football, now you hurt his value even more.
I just want to say this in my defense. Bob McAdoo would probably be a better head football coach for the Giants than Ben McAdoo. Coming up next on Jalen and Jacoby, Jay-Z and Beyonce have some very interesting information about an upcoming project. We'll explain after this.